In this Blender tutorial, we'll learn how to use texture paint to bring your 3D models to life. We'll take a 3D model and show you how to add a vibrant and realistic texture that will make your creations truly stand out. Get ready to take your 3D creation to next level with texture painting. I have already created a self-balancing toy model in Blender which we will texture paint to make it look more realistic than just using a procedural texture. If you don't have a model to work with, you can find a free 3D model online to practice with. Before we texture paint the model, the essential step is to UV unwrap the 3D model so that we can texture paint on it. Let's go to the UV editing workspace. There are various ways to UV unwrap the model, such as selecting a smart UV project by pressing U and then OK. However, we won't be using that method as we want more flexibility to texture paint. Instead, I will manually add seam and unwrap it. We will select the areas where we want to add the seam, then left click and mark the seam. After selecting all the seams, we will press U to unwrap the 3D model. Next, I want to convert the UV island to a perfect square or rectangle. To do this, we will use the UV square add-on. I will add the link in the description. To install the UV square add-on, download the zip file, go to Edit, Preference, Add-on, click Install and select the zip file, and enable the add-on in the Add-ons tab. First, we'll select the circle areas that we don't want to be affected. Then press anywhere in the circle and press L to select the seam. Next, we'll press Ctrl I to invert the selection. Then we'll press N to open up the right hand menu, navigate to UV squares and press Grid by Square. Now all the islands are straight. We need to arrange the UV islands, so we'll select all the vertices and go to UV and press Pack Island. Finally, we'll increase the margin value a little bit to ensure that all the islands have space between them. Now we are ready to start texture painting on the model. Let's go to the texture painting workspace. Allow me to introduce some fundamental tools in the texture painting workspace. Brush tool. This is the primary tool we will use for texture painting. You can select different brushes from the tool palette and adjust their size and strength. Color picker. To select a color to paint with, click on the color swatch. You can choose from a variety of preset colors or use a color wheel to select a custom color. Fill tool. This tool allows you to quickly fill an area with color. To use it, select the fill tool from the tool palette. Choose a color, then click on the area you want to fill. Smear tool. This tool lets you blend color together. To use it, select the smear tool from the tool palette and then click and drag over the areas you want to blend. Now let's add a base map to paint on by pressing and selecting the base map. Let's increase the resolution by 2K. Now we have to go and select the base color to show on our workspace. First, we need to add color to the model before we give it some variation by texture painting. Increase the bleed value to 16 default bleed value. Increasing the bleed value in texture paint helps to prevent the unwanted seams from appearing on the model surface by extending the painting texture slightly beyond the UV island. Now we have to go into edit mode and select the individual island to fill the color. Select anywhere on this space and press L and change the selection mode to seam. Go into texture paint mode. Now what we have to do is on the texture mask mode to just fill the color on the areas which we selected in the edit mode. We will go to the fill tool and select the color which we want to fill and press on the part where the color should be applied. we need to give the texture variations it requires to make it feel like a paint. Go to the active tool space and change the stroke method to airbrush and paint the little darker version of the color. Then use the smear tool to blend the color just like paint. Do the same thing to all the textures. Using the smear tool to blend colors in texture painting simulates the effect of blending paint on the surface, which can help creating a more natural and organic looking textures. This can contribute to more realistic overall appearance of the 3D model, especially if the goal is to achieve a painted look. Also use a soften brush and soften the lines a little bit. Use the soften brush everywhere where two colors meet. Change the edges color so that it feels like a used toy. Then use a soften brush to blend. How much time you want to spend working in the texture painting mode is up to you. Small tweaks can greatly improve the texture, but ultimately it comes down to how much time you are willing to invest to achieve your desired level of quality. After that, create a new map for bump texture. Press plus to add a bump texture, make it a 2K texture. After that, go to the image and replace the new plain image with the old texture where we have texture painted. Go to the shader tab and reduce the strength of the bump and also invert. Then go change the blend mode to saturation. And change the color to black. And paint over the entire map. Now your 3D model is texture painted and ready to be rendered. Hope you found this tutorial helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. And don't forget to follow Imperfect Render on Instagram and Twitter for more Blender tutorials and helpful tips.